From Las Vegas, it's Dry Heat with Mike Davis.
All right, guys, welcome inside the den here, Fox 5 Studios. Mike Davis for a brand new edition of Dry Heat and Sound Off Sports. Guys, you got to look at this book right here. Runs in the Family. Great title, and you're going to find out why. This is one of the best titles, one of the greatest stories. It's a Disney movie in the making. I can't wait to see who's going to be playing all the characters in this film, because it's hard for me as a Philly kid, a New Jersey kid, to get emotional. I was getting emotional learning all about our guest today here in the den with us, the great Deland McCullough. Coach, you're a running backs coach with the Raiders. We got so much to dive into about your story. But before we get into this tremendous story, as a running backs coach, you led the MAC and Miami of Ohio when you were a rusher and a running back there. You've been all over USC. You were associate head coach at Notre Dame. Now, Pete Carroll brings you in to be the running back coach here with the Raiders. What a time to be a coach here with Pete, because your mentor, Sherman Smith, I'm not going to get into everything yet, but he coached Marshawn. And now with Pete, you're going to be able to coach the 6th overall draft pick, Ashton Jeanty. What does this opportunity mean to you, and how exciting is this to be coaching a talent like him?
Man, it's an unbelievable blessing. You know, I mean, for me, the last few years, ever since leaving the NFL, I knew there would always be opportunities to go back to the NFL.
Yeah.
Every year I got re-engaged about coming back, and for me, it was always about the right fit. You know, so the opportunity when Pete called, he called and left a message. He said, "Hey, everybody telling me this is the best running back coach in the country, and we're gonna get a running back, and we need somebody great to coach him." So those are things that you can't pass up. And I know the energy and the culture that he brings to the table, because I've seen it, because I was part of an internship there in 2014.
Oh, really?
So I got a chance to see it up close. So it's a special time to be here, and let's just go ahead and make it do what it do. Let's go ahead and do it.
It's a beautiful thing. You already have a Super Bowl ring with your time with the Chiefs, being a running backs coach there in the Super Bowl 54. I think you guys beat the Niners. Damian Williams, I believe, had a big game in that Super Bowl victory. But, you've been around the block. You did it yourself. You played for the Bengals. You played for the Eagles. And now you have this opportunity with Ashton Jeanty. You even coach Jeremiah Love, who's a talent himself coming out of Notre Dame. We're going to see what he's going to do. Yeah. But tell us, before we get into your story, just Ashton Jeanty, my producer and I, James, we had the opportunity to be up close next to this dude. He's built different. I mean, when people say that, sometimes they're just saying stuff. No. This guy, he's built like a piece of muscle, just like a brick house. Yeah. I mean, tell us what he's going to be able to do. How is he going to be able to take the league by storm right off the bat? Because he's demonstrated already so much at Boise State.
Well, I think the thing that –
what makes him different?
What makes him different is a mental makeup. I mean, the physical skill, the whole world has seen that. But a lot of people, it's a smaller subsection of that who get a chance to be around him, see what makes him tick, see how conscientious he is, see how his level of attention to detail, his dependability, his discipline, and all those things that will come out. So those are the things during the interview process that you got a high appreciation for. The fact that he wants to be great. He is open to the things that will make him an elite player, whether it be improving his pass protection, whether it's becoming a more refined route runner, whether it's lower pad level, whatever those things are. We've laid out a prescription for him to be what we all anticipate him to be. And during the OTA process, he's surpassed what those expectations are. Yes, I know we ain't hit yet, but I'm saying for a rookie with these level of expectations to come in and really embrace coaching and embrace the plan that we have for him has been really good.
How much, situation and mental makeup and all those things play such a role, because you've been around the block for so long. You've seen the league and how it's transforming constantly. There was a narrative 2 years ago, running backs don't matter anymore. And then you see what Saquon does in Philly. You see what Derrick Henry has provided for the Ravens, and how the age of these running backs, the threshold's starting to get a little older and older than we're accustomed to. How do you think the position has evolved just from your time with the Bengals, I think 96, and the Eagles in 97. What has stayed constant about the position that we've always known and loved, and what has changed?
Well, I mean, I think, what has stayed constant is you need that guy the guy touches all aspects of the game. You run the ball, we block, we catch the ball, we protect the quarterback.
Right.
So those are the things that are undeniable. And before you devalue the position, have a guy who don't block on third down. Have a guy that can't convert.
Right. Pass protection.
The guy who gets a quarterback knocked out.
Right. And a good running game, I mean, as a guy who's never played, really sets the tone of your offense, right? I mean, it gets you in a groove. It gets you, especially a guy like Pete Carroll, it opens up play action. It makes the game flow.
Yes. So, I mean, those are things that, it's always intriguing. And in the backs, I tell guys, I said, some people think, the narrative of it's the easiest position to play, and some people think it's the easiest position to coach. So I internalize that, and I make sure my backs internalize that we're going to be very, very detailed. We're going to be dependable. We're going to be disciplined in how we go out there and perform. And anybody who understands the running back position, when you watch it now for the Las Vegas Raiders, you're going to say, oh, these guys are very well coached, and they're on top of the details.
I love it. You got such a great pedigree and history already, and now guys like Marcus Freeman, all these guys who you've worked with speak so highly of you, Andy Reid, so it's going to be exciting to see not only what you help the Raiders accomplish from a running back standpoint and getting the offense going, but what you accomplish in your future as well. But we got to talk about this book here. Runs in the Family. You wrote it along with Sarah Spain. I met her when I was at Northwestern once. She's a great person. Listen, this story, how to begin. Your name is Deland McCullough, but your birth name was John Briggs.
Yep.
And it's so fascinating. There's a lot of people in life where you have an absentee father. You don't grow up with a father in your life, but you find these father figures. And for you found this father figure in a guy named Sherman Smith. He played in the NFL. He was an OC even with the Redskins for some time. Yep. But he recruited you heavily to come to Miami of Ohio, where he was a quarterback. And he was a stud himself. And I want you to tell our audience about the first time you meet this guy, because I remember reading something about a red Mercedes-Benz. And you're John Briggs. You have, an adopted mother. Your father, AC, I believe, left when you were like 2 years old.
Yep.
So you're a good player. You're starting to get some interest. You had some big games. You're a great running back. And now this dude shows up to your high school. You get called into the office, and Sherman Smith is there. And tell us what that felt like in that moment when you met this guy.
Well, I mean, all of it, everything going through high school was kind of, that moment was a capstone of everything. Yes, I mean, it's pretty well documented in the book, and otherwise, had some rough situations as I grew up and different things like that. As I went through high school, I wouldn't have started. It wasn't like, this guy's been killing it his whole career. It was a situation where I decided maybe my sophomore year, look, I got to do something to separate me, or at least to put a spotlight on me as a player. And what I did is decided I'm just going to work as hard as I can on the field. Though that hard work unlocked a talent that became on display my senior year. So end up having a really good senior year. And here I am sitting in English class, and me and my buddy, we sitting there, we look out the window. We're on the third floor. We look down, we see this candy apple red and gold Mercedes. You're like, wow, what is that? Whose car is that? No clue. And then a couple minutes later, I get a slip to go down to the front office, and I walk in, and it's still like a movie to me, because he was talking to our coach, who was the assistant principal. And then he turned around and he said, how you doing? I'm Sherman Smith, running back coach for Miami University. And it was like, felt the connection immediately. He's from Youngstown, and it was so many subplots in that really made it enticing to go to Miami.
But when you have an instant connection with somebody, it's weird, right?
Yeah, it is.
And you just had this connection. He's big. He's 6'4", I believe. Like, he's a bigger little dude than you, but you guys are both two good-looking guys. He takes to you immediately. You take to him. And next thing you know, you're going to, the MAC. You're going to play for Miami of Ohio. And, you set a record at that time when you're there for rushing. And you have this guy who literally, I think he said to you, like, I know you don't have a father, but I want to treat you like a son
Yeah.
kind of thing. And why do you think he took to you in that moment? Is it just because of who Sherman Smith is, or he saw something in you that you were yearning for that?
Well, it might have been a combination of those things. You know, I mean, that was his makeup, you know, which is to be approachable, to be somebody who embraced people as an individual.
Yeah.
You know, and he started it all. I mean, for his whole career, he would start off seasons or OTAs or whatever it is. Hey, you may not be looking for a father, but I'm going to treat you like you're my son.
More Dry Heat after the break. You're watching Dry Heat with Mike Davis.
As we're making our way through your trajectory and your story, you end up going to Miami of Ohio. You succeed there. You got Sherman Smith there. You're doing your stuff. You go to the league, and now you're on this trajectory. You're 45. You're coaching. You coached in high school. You coached at Indiana. You coached, with the Chiefs. All this stuff, and one day, the laws change a little bit where you're able to open adoption records. And all of a sudden, the name of your birth mother comes into orbit. It's Carol Briggs.
Yes.
So you literally go on Facebook and tell us what happens. You go on Facebook and you literally type in Carol Briggs.
Yep. So my adoptive mom has said something to me literally right before I went into coaching. So I was a principal up before I went into coaching. So literally I just got the Indiana job. So I was going into Power 5 coaching, and she contacted me and she said something about the lawyer who did the adoption. So I'm sitting there like, what's the big deal? I'm almost 40 years old. She's telling me that. So make a long story short, she gave me some breadcrumbs that she knew as far as, hey, you were in an orphanage. I didn't even know that. And she said the nuns there called you Baby John. I'm like, what are you talking about? I never heard this stuff before. So it got me going. Here I am. I got 3 sons at that time, and I'm saying, having to answer these questions about family history.
Right.
It was just a convergence of a bunch of things at the same time that made me want to look. Fast forward several years, the laws in Pennsylvania then opened up. It was a House bill there that was looking to unseal adoption records.
Right.
And they became unsealed. And I was right there on the doorstep saying, hey, let me get my stuff, per se. So they sent me everything and found my mom's name. And I went on Facebook and I just typed her name in. It was some other stuff, but it didn't take long.
Like she wasn't the first one
No.
to pop up, but
Yeah,
but it wasn't like you had to go 12 pages deep.
No, I didn't. A quick side thing, nobody talks about this, although I tell everybody, there was another Carol Briggs. There was another Carol Briggs that I reached out to because I was born in Pennsylvania. So you don't know.
There's gonna be a few.
You don't know where. So I was doing all my search off Pennsylvania. There was another Carol Briggs in Philadelphia who I sent the message to originally. I originally sent it to another Carol Briggs. She never responded, which was only I only sent it to her like 3 hours later. It wasn't like I gave her 5 days to respond. And my mind was racing so much, and then I did locate my actual mom.
And you connect with her, you give her a buzz,
Yep.
and she says, oh, you ask her, tell me, you ask her, who's my dad?
Yeah, so, we're having a great conversation. She didn't know what was going on.
Right.
It was just, in general, I'm reaching out, and we're going back and forth, and I said, you have a baby and put him up for adoption? She said, yes. I said, what was his name? She said, not Deland. So we kind of chuckled about that. And then she said it was John. And I said, she said she was in Youngstown, I didn't know that, obviously. And I said, I got any brothers and sisters? She said, no. And then I said, well, who's my dad? And she said, your dad is a man named Sherman Smith. So that was blown away.
The craziness of this is that's the guy with the cherry red Mercedes-Benz who you had that instant connection with, and you had as a father figure in your life. And you're talking with him daily because he was a coach.
He was a coach.
He's coaching, you're doing that, I'm sure, you're keeping up to date with stuff.
Yes. I mean, you talking about, this all happened when I found out who my biological parents were. That was 2017. You figure just in 2014, I was at Seattle
As an intern.
As an intern, doing an internship down there.
And he was a running backs coach there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's really opening a lot of stuff in your life and your world up for you. And I can't even imagine what is going through your body when she says Sherman Smith. You're probably like, what?
Yeah, I'm blown away. I feel like super blessed and like, somewhat undeserving because I know the level of a person he is. It's just like, I'm like, wow. Then all of those pictures in my mind of all the times when I was at Miami, that was a running joke. Man, you look just like Coach Smith. You look like the guy. The joke when I was at Seattle training camp, Coach Carroll, in the middle of one of our staff meetings, he said, hold up, something's going on with you two guys.
Did he really?
He said, we're watching you two guys out on the field. You guys walk alike. Y'all pointing the same. It's just crazy. He just made a bit kind of a joke about it in one of the staff meetings. And, me and Coach Smith at the time, we just kind of laughed it off. Like, yeah, we heard that before when we were in college.
Dry Heat with Mike Davis will be right back.
In past interviews, even said, like, dreaming up all the male figures in your life who you could have selected to be that father, if you could just pick somebody in your life, it would be Sherman.
Without a doubt. If I had to go through and say, man, of all the guys, and there's been a lot of people who've had great impact on me. I told some other guys, I said, hey, my dad was number one, but some other guys on the list. I mean, I've been around some excellent guys and mentors, but I mean, my dad, Sherman Smith, would have been the top one. Just if you was to say, hey, make a list of the guys you met, he would have been number one.
And you sent him a message, and he called you right away.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for that. I thought he was going to text me. Because I texted him, and I said, hey, Coach, I need to talk to you about something. So I thought he was going to text me back and say, yeah, when you, and I would have told him later on. To be completely honest, I would have took some time to get my mind together. But he called, and my wife said, I was like, oh shoot, I'm not ready really to talk to him about it. I was kind of just prepping everything, but got on the phone and laid everything out to him. So I mean, we got on. He said, "Hey, what's going on?" I said, he thought I wanted to talk about coaching because it was like late November, mid-November. He thought I was talking about maybe some upcoming coaching things. And I said, I'm adopted. He said, yeah, I know you're adopted. And I said, I found my biological mom. He was, my dad was like, oh man, praise God. He was really excited about that. And I said, hold up, it's a little bit more. And I just ran it straight through. I said, her name is Carol Briggs, and when I asked her who was my dad, she said you. I said just straight through like that, and he was quiet for a little bit. He started mumbling some things, and then he said, I do know Carol. He said, I know Carol. So I'm excited. I'm fired up because I'd already heard the night before. I'm fired up. And he really wasn't, And he told me, he said, look, I need to get off the phone, Deland. I need to process this. And once I got off the phone with him, I got it. I understood his process because he never knew anything. It'd be different if it was, well, I got some girl pregnant a long time ago. I never heard anything about it. He never knew anything. So. Yeah,
and he's a good dude, and he just he felt a sadness that he, couldn't be there and didn't, have the information or know anything about. But
and he knew how he all those things, because the things that he's built on is, being responsible and accountable and different things like this. But he didn't even know. So I kind of said that to him, like, you didn't know. You putting yourself through this, you didn't even know. And then the other part was he knew how I came up.
Right.
So all of those emotions hit him like, wow, in spite of the fact that I didn't know whatever, man, he still turned out to be a good guy, but man, he had it rough.
It's such a powerful story, and it's like, I know faith is a big part of, Sherman in your life, and it is one of those stories where sometimes God just feels like he's touching lives in a different way, and this is one of those stories. It's so remarkable.
More Dry Heat after the break.
Are we seeing more? Is he going to get a ton of reps? Are we going to do the trickle thing where we're going to let him get adjusted? Is it going to be a, running back by committee with Mostert? Is it going to, or is it really Ashton's going to be RB1 and ready to go right off the bat?
Well, that's to be determined. But I can tell you this: he set himself up through his work and taking coaching and being out there and handling his business. He took the lion's share during OTAs because you wanted to get him acclimated. The good thing is his acclimation was really good because he took the most plays of the running back and he graded the highest. So those are the two things that we're encouraging.
And he's even, when you draft a guy at 6, a lot of naysayers out there, oh, too early to take him running back, blah, 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 blah. You're saying even from everything from scouting, from the combine, all this kind of stuff, you're even more wowed in person when you saw this. Like even the expectations were even higher than, because you thought one thing and then he met them and exceeded them.
Yes. I mean, we felt really good coming out of the interviews. Had a lot of time that was spent in a lot of conversations with him, so you felt like the makeup was there. You still had to take those words he said in interviews and put them on the football field. And at least through OTAs, he's done some good things.
I love that. My favorite thing about this man was, I mean, it's a different world than when you play college football. He literally, overlooked as a college student all that transfer portal money because he wanted to be there with his team. He wanted to honor the school, Boise State, that got him to put his name on the map. And I think that says a lot about a young man. And, of course, coming from a family, a military background, he's a good young man, and we can't wait to see all the success. I'm just hoping we can hold you here in Vegas because I think you're going to be getting some OC head coaching job interest soon, especially with what you're going to scheme up with Chip and Ashton. It's going to be some exciting stuff, but we're wishing you all the best in the future. We're wishing you the best here in Vegas, and thank you for being such an inspiration to so many people and sharing your story with us. It's beautiful stuff.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Guys, embrace your story. That's the number one thing to remember from today, and draft Ashton Jeanty in first round of fantasy football probably as well. I think so. Thank you so much for watching Dry Heat with Mike Davis. Go to our YouTube page, Silver State Sports, to hear our complete interviews.